Right then, guys. Boom, me and Scrappy are here to explain to you how to use the stick float for float fishing on rivers. Because I've noticed, well, a few people keep asking me about it, and I've tried to go in detail a few times, but I've only got a few hours fishing, so I get all excited and then I just get straight into fishing, as you know. So I thought I was going to go through it, and I've got a new float rod. My other float rod's basically one of the eyes is broke, and because of Corona, I can't get it fixed yet. So when I get it fixed, I'll probably just give it to a subscriber or something, or somebody who needs it. But I've got a new rod for my Valentine's Day, aren't we, Scraps? So yeah, we're just chilling today. Obviously I went out yesterday float fishing. We caught some nice roach. Scrappy's taking the limelight, eh, bud? And yeah, it was a really good session, as you can see. And I thought I'd just go through the stick float, the bread that I use, and all this kind of stuff. And Scrappy just nicked me out. Boy. Right, come and sit down here then. Oh, steady boy. Good boy. Right. So here we go, innit, Scraps? So I thought I'll go through the stick float and what you need. Because I noticed as well when I was float fishing the river that there was a waggler float stuck in a tree, and I was like, why are you using a waggler float on a river, a fast flowing shallow river? You don't use a waggler float, okay? So here's a waggler float. It's what you don't want to be using, okay, on a fast flowing river. It's just going to go mental, okay? So what you want is a stick float, okay? This is actually a big stick float. I rarely use this, only on big rivers. But normally I'm using this because I'm using, you know, I fish ditches, don't I? I'm the ditch master. So, this is what I normally use. You can see how small it is. You see, to the size of my hand. You see, very small float, but it's awesome for ditches and that kind of stuff. All right, and like, you know me about buying gear and all that kind of stuff. Oh, did I too early? Buying gear and stuff like stick floats. It's like, I've had them for ages. I never lose. I never snap up stuff. So they're just amazing, really. Like, I've had some of these for ages. Like, look at that one. Look at that sexy one. Look at that. Hey. So I've got loads of these different ones, and they all do different things. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know what they all do. But bigger bodies, I presume, are obviously for the faster water to hold it back. Because you want to hold it like this back, basically, in the water. You don't want it too much like this. You want it like this. And you see this one's been bent. I think I stood on it. But that's one for bigger rivers, really. But yeah, the finer the tip, the better for like roach fishing and stuff like that. Do you see what I mean? The bigger the tip, the bigger the fish, and probably the fast flowing water. Right, so what you need is to go float fishing on a river, right? And this is the reason why I think most people should start doing it. It's completely different to carp fish or anything like that. Presentation, all this kind of stuff. It's so much different on a river than in a commercial river, commercial lake, right? So when you're going onto rivers, you basically need to present the bait how they're going to see it, okay? So you don't want to, I'll go through it in more detail, but the simple things about rivers I love as well is that it goes back to my roots when I first started fishing, because I used to go down there with a waggler and just catch one fish in about 3 hours, just by pure fluke, I presume. And then my mate took me down there, showed me how to start properly float fishing, trotting the river, and it made my catch rate just went massively. As you've seen, I can normally catch fish straight away when I'm trotting a river where I know there's roach, you know. Where before I'd probably, with loads of roach in front of me, I wouldn't catch them. So basically, what you need is float rubbers, okay? Little float rubbers, okay? That's the other way. I know it says right, but they are. It says float caps, okay? So I've got the line and everything set up already. I took my hook off because I'm going to be sticking it in the water. So basically, what you need is 4-pound line, okay? Because you're trotting a river, you need fine line, okay? Obviously, if you're fishing for bigger fish like chub and that kind of stuff, yeah, don't listen to me, go to 6-7 pound. But on rivers and that, I used to have really heavy line at 6 pound and stuff. It's all right, you can get away with it, you honestly can. You can get away with it. But I just don't think it's the best, you know what I mean? 4-pound line, it's a lot more finer, you can control the float much better. So what you got to do is put 2 float rubbers on the line, okay? Thin one, fat one, okay? Thin one for the bottom, fat one for the top. Okay, so then all I do is push this on. So this is 4-pound line. I put the tubing on already. You know, one we done earlier. So all I do is wet the float. Bam. Okay. Don't worry, I probably get Viles disease from the rivers that I fish. Right. Then what I do is I stick this one on here. Boom. Make sure, obviously, the float top is sticking out. Pull the line tight. Boom. So we're on. So this is the stick float. And then I'm going to go down. So this is going to be out of the water. This is obviously going to be in the water. Okay. So this is why it's different. You're not going from bottom end. You're going from top to bottom. Okay, so the line is pinned here, it's pinned here. And then it comes down to here, so I can dictate how deep I want it, right? So I know how many shots this takes, and I can adjust the shotting pattern depending on how I want to fish it. All right, so this lead shot here basically cocks it. This one pulls it down just a little bit more, and these two here are the droppers. And my hook would be here. But I took the hook off because I'm going to be dipping it in my fish tank. Yeah. So I'm trying to do this on the bank. It would be mental. I will go more detail about controlling the float and stuff. But the main thing is to keep the line behind the float. If it starts going like this around the float, when you strike, you have so much slack and you will just miss the fish. I didn't realise how many fish I was actually missing. I used to get loads of little mini bites and I just wouldn't strike because I'd wait for it to go flying under, and sometimes it doesn't. You know, they just feel the restriction and they just let go. You know, people just think, you know, fish are stupid. They're not. So even little roach, man, they will literally, you feel that you watch sometimes the float go doop, 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 and you won't hit it, and then nothing's there, and you're like, oh right, that was nothing. And then you do it again and you have a little dip, pull, you know, bloody hell, I'm in. It's because especially bigger, like wiser fish, they take the bait completely different, you know. So anyway, so make sure this is stuck behind. Oh, incoming call, go away. Right, so all we do is that. Right, so what we're going to do is now we're going to go to the fish tank, and then I'm going to show you all you need is a float rod, basically. I've got a very small net, so I'm just fishing for roach, and a landing stick, landing pole. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is now, I'm going to drop the float in, my amazing tank. Just quickly show you, so I don't get in the limelight. Actually need to clean it today. Don't know where Nancy the Newt is, but she's in there somewhere. Right, and I've had to restock this tank for ages now. It's obviously Corona. Right, so stick float. Ba-boom. She's going in. Is this going to work? Yeah. So there we go. Stick float, lead shots. So all I'm going to do is just slowly feed it line. You see, look, and I keep this line back, let shots go through. See, and this is why you need it from the top, because you can control the line or controls the flow. What's going to help it go through the swim. Sorry about the light. You see, and the droppers are just on the bottom there. So look, I'll pull it back again. My fish stop attacking it. So all it does is just trick through the float, through the swim. See, hitting bottom. And from the top view, see, and I just track it through the swim. Pinning the line back. It's probably caught in some weed now, see? And that's what naturally happens when you get caught in weed. You have to bump it out. Is it going to bump out? No. Wouldn't do that, would it? There we go. Nope. See, and that's what happens when you get stuck in weed. The float won't go anywhere, look. What was it? Oh, it's free. Yeah, there we go. So look, I'm not even touching the float. But ideally, you want to hold this float back so the bait is just in front. See what I mean? So the bait would be just in front of the float. So they don't see the float first, they see the bait. So anyway, so now I'll just quickly go through the float gear. Right, so here we go. Yeah, the float rod, very important. Okay, some guy was on one of the groups I was chatting with, and he was saying, "Oh, your rod's too big." I was like, "No, it's not. The biggest rod you can get away with on a river is better for line lay and for when you want to little rivers. The fish are going to hold at the back of the river. With my 6 foot little Daiwa float rod, I'm not going to be able to cast direct. Well, even if I can cast that, I won't be able to control the line long enough. When you're long trotting, you need to be able to control the line directly behind the float. And on the angle with a short rod, you can't do it. That's why you have like a 14-foot float rod. So this one's a 14-foot Emerald Pool match rod. I bought this for £10. Okay, it's cork handle, and what's happened is this eye is broken. So it's easily fixed. I just buy a new eye and then I just whip it on. But I've never done it before. So it's not something I just want to randomly start doing. So I'm going to get it fixed. It's a nice float rod, but I'll just give it away because, like I said, my girlfriend's got me a new one for Valentine's Day, and this is the new reel. This reel is awesome, absolutely brilliant. I love having a new float reel. That has been good. I'm not going to lie. So I've got my new float rod, and I want just to show you the difference. There isn't much. That's the amazing thing. So this rod's about £50–60. It is a classic TFG. So TF gear. Sorry. Classic float 13-foot rod. So it's a much finer tip, though, I will say, than the old school. Oh, destroy your ass, mate. Destroy your ass. Right. I didn't say ass, by the way, house. Right. So there we go. So look, new rod, old rod. You can see, look, she's a bit battered and stuff. But it's a good little rod. It really is for £10, and it's old. So the new rod, but it's actually a bit stiffer. It's actually a bit stiffer than the old rod. The old rod, I reckon I've had so many fish on it, haven't I? Yeah, it's very soft now. So, yeah, basically there isn't much difference in my rods. It's going to look shinier, but I think I'll get a bit better boom on it. But 13 foot, I paid about £55 for it, I think. Something like that. Well, I didn't pay for it, obviously my girlfriend did, but I chose it, obviously. So yeah, I'm well happy. I can't wait to try it out. I was going to try it out today, but then I was just like, I've burnt my ankle for ages now, and I ain't let it rest. So the great thing about this type of fishing is, before I start rambling on, is that it's like my fishing anyway, especially ditches and that, it's free. Like, it doesn't cost any money. I do it all the time, if you noticed. And even if I didn't get much views, I don't care. Bag of bread and a float rod and a bloody net. You know, it's the simplest form of fishing, and everyone can do it. And you can go anywhere. You know, you can do it on a ditch, you can do it on a river, you can do it on a big river. You know, it's not like going to a carp lake, you know, and you just sort of casting out. You're really in tune with it. As you've seen, you're always busy. It's great when you've got just a few hours fishing. You don't want to be sat down. You just keep yourself busy, you know. I don't know why other people like don't do other types of fishing, you know. I think it's awesome. I love it. From wrasse fishing to perch fishing, you know, to roach fishing. But one of my favourite, well, it is one of my main types of fishing, is stick float fishing and tench fishing. Those are my two like real like big favourites. Like the winter, just for a few months, stick trotting is amazing. And even the summer, when it hammered down with rain, you get a good water flow, then it's really good. Right, anyway. So I hope you enjoy. It's a more information video. I just dropped you guys. You're on my tablet. You're on the tablet. So I thought me and Scrappy, and it's Scrap. It's because it's on this tablet. It's the reason why I'm struggling. Sorry, guys. Scraps. Right. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's more informational than actually, you know, enjoyment, isn't it? But yeah, it's just explaining, because I have quite a few people going on about, you know, like what floats you're using, all this kind of stuff. And it's just stick floats. You can use pole floats in the summer on little rivers. I've used pole floats and stuff, but you can't go very far with it. With a proper decent stick float, like I was fishing with a very small one the other day. I should have been fishing with a bigger one. It would have presented the bait that little bit much better. But anyway, right. Bing bang bosh. Like and subscribe. Fighting Fisherman on Instagram. And Fighting Fisherman #9 on Instagram, sorry. And Fighting Fisherman on Facebook. Yes. Boom, boom. Goodbye from me and Scrappy. We'll see you on the bank.